Mama is she page me, so my comment over join. And my acknowledgement directly. Something like this. She knew that. So I should come back to join. Okay. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome to the ICANN. You're welcome to the ICANN Advanced Audit Assurance class. My name is Emmanuel Adiotu from Star Gold Academy, and I want to first wish you all happy Sunday and good afternoon, everybody, whoever that is live out there. So I want to welcome you to class. This is actually an intensive live class for the ICANN November diet, and in this class we'll be covering the Advanced Audit and Assurance, which is a course under the professional level. So right here with me in our studio, I have Mr. Rafiu, who will be the one to lecture us for the next 2 hours. So as I welcome you all, I will want you all to take note of 3 things you need to do once you join this class. Once you join this class, the first thing you need to do is that you need to just say hi so that we can know that yes, you are live with us. So when you say hi, just put your location. For instance, you can say hi from Lagos, hi from Ibadan, from Abuja. Second thing you need to do is that you need to share the video. Once you share the video, you have a copy of the video on your timeline that you can always go to at your own convenient time, and you can even share with your friends. Then the last thing you need to do is that you need to ask questions, which is the main purpose why we have come online here today, because we want you to pass your examination, and as we know that exams are all about questions and answers, which implies that the ability for you to provide sufficient answers to every given question is what makes you pass your examination. So the lecturer already have some likely questions that are very relevant in regards to advanced audit and assurance. So if you have your own question, also just post it in so that lecturer can respond to your questions as we go along. So on this note, I'd like to hand over to Mr. Rafiu, who will be anchoring the class for the next 2 hours. So he's going to start by giving us some free tips on how we can pass this ICANN Advanced Audit and Assurance November 2017 diet examination. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon and welcome you to this class. Please and please, your attention will be highly needed. So the topic before us is advanced audit and assurance, and I want you to notice some certain questions.
Okay, sorry, before the lecture go on, we have about 7 persons online here, and we have Abubakar Ismail. Hi, Abubakar from Ismail. Okay, Yobe. How is Yobe today? I hope Yobe is fine. Sanusi Lawrence Oluwamayowa. Sorry if I didn't pronounce your name. Properly. Sorry for that. How is Lagos? Yeah, Lagos is fine. Lagos is fine. Adenike Omobola Adeoti Falasino. Hi, hello. Abubakar Ismail, and okay. We have Adeni, okay. Nike from Akure. Is Akure today? I hope everything is fine. So the lecture will continue. So as you all join, we'll keep acknowledging you. I think Ram Shondaritu is here. Oh, memories. That is Kano. Mr. Memories. Wow. Okay, thank you.
Like I said before, in advanced audit and assurance, you are expected to know some certain key keywords, and you look at like joint audit, like audit strategy, like the forensic audit and transnational audit, and the audit engagement, and so on. So let us look at it one after the other. So let me start with number 1. So let me start with the number 1. Yeah. So let me start with number 1. Firstly, state the various strategies that could have been adopted in audit strategy. State the various strategies that could be adopted in audit strategy. Firstly, you need to know what is the meaning of audit strategy, and also some ways, some means, or some strategy that you can easily adapt in order to get some facts based on the financial statement of the company in terms of the trueness and fairness of the financial statement. So firstly, what is audit strategy? The audit strategy can be defined as a means or ways by which Question number 1. Audit strategy can be defined as a way or means by which an auditor performs its activities. And this kind of ways, we have some certain techniques that the auditor needs to be adopted before he can perform his or her duties. Firstly, we look at the system audit. System audit. We also look at the statement of financial position approach in terms of substantive approach. We also look at the risk-based auditing. Risk-based auditing. We also look at the directional testing, checking the financial statement to the underlying record. We also look at the analytical procedure. So those are the major audit strategies that we have in auditing assignment. So acceptance and retention of engagement. Before accepting a new audit engagement, firms should ensure that they are 1. Are competent to undertake the work. 2. Consider carefully whether there are threats to their interdependence or independence or the objectivity, and also consider carefully whether they are threatening to their independence, whether adequate safeguard can be established, and also we have assess the integrity of the owners, the directors, and the management of the entity. And finally, we look at the compliance with the ethical requirement of the professional accountancy body in terms of the change in appointment. So those are the major ones that you need to consider when you are performing your audit strategy. So let's look at the second one on the list, which is explain the overview of joint audit. Explain the overview of joint audit. When you're talking about joint audit, just like an audit that is performed by 2 or more auditing firms, a joint audit can be defined as a situation where 2 or more auditors are responsible for an audit assignment, engagement, and jointly produce an audit report to the client. I repeat, a joint audit can be defined as one where 2 or more auditors are responsible for an audit assignment, engagement, and jointly produce an audit report to the client. So there are some reasons by which a joint audit can be established. Firstly, in a new acquisition, the parent entity may insist that the auditor act jointly with those of their new subsidiary. And secondly, an entity operating from many distant locations may find it useful to have joint auditors. And the third one, overseas subsidiary may need to employ local audit firms to satisfy the law of the country in which they operate. These local auditors may act jointly with the group auditors. Next one is some entities may prefer to use local auditors while at the same time enjoy the greater range of services offered by a large international firm. Before accepting appointment as a joint auditor, it will be necessary to consider the experience and standard of the other firms. The location of work between the firms need to be agreed, and the auditor should agree whether joint or separate engagement letter will be sent. Both firms must sign the audit report, and both are responsible for the whole audit. They are jointly liable in the event of litigation. So matters of general concern in joint audit engagement. Matters of joint concern in joint audit engagement. 1. Responsibility. 2. The allocation of work. 3. Planning and control. 4. Conflict of interest and independence. 5. Appointment. And the last one, which is the fees. So let's look at the merit of joint audit, the advantages of joint audit. 1. Technical skill. It promotes technical skill. 2. Geographical coverage. And 3. Group situation and reliability. 4. Reduction of audit risk. And number 5. Drawback of joint audit. So the drawback of joint audit, you can look at it in terms of the advantage of joint audit. What are the advantages of joint audit? 1. Costs may greatly increase through unnecessary duplication of work by the firm. I repeat, costs may greatly increase through unnecessary duplication of work by the firm. And 2. Each of the joint auditor is potentially liable for the negligence of the other. The third one, misunderstanding may arise in relation to the agreed division of work, with the likely result that some aspects of the audit are not subjected to the satisfactory audit procedure. And the next one, the audit approach of the firm may differ, and this may make it difficult for each to assess or review each other's work. And lastly, it may be difficult at times to maintain a reasonable level of objectivity if one of the auditors is highly dependent on the client. So, Oduete,
Okay, yeah, so we have some comments here. We have from okay, we have from okay, looking at the last comment. Okay, we have from Odo Grace Ikpe. Is it Yoruba? Is it Yoruba? I don't understand why. Is it Yoruba? Okay, is it Yoruba? Well, the class we're actually not speaking Yoruba, we are speaking English, and it's class for advanced audit and assurance. So if I have not answered your question, please you can make your question more precise and clear so I can respond to that. We are from Inyog SCN. We are welcome. Audio is not clear. Yeah, we actually noticed that we have already worked on that. So if you have, if you are still expressing the same issue, please let us know. We are from Ramshondari. Voice is not clear. Okay, we are working on that. We have actually worked on that. Please check and get back. Odo Grace Ikpe, hi Abuja. Oh, how is Abuja today? I hope Abuja is fine. We are from Lawrence Sanusi. Hi. Okay, Ramshaudari say the voice is now okay. Okay, thank you for getting back. Oh, memories, you are such a wonderful person. We have Sanusi Lawrence from Lagos. Oh, okay. Odo Grace Ikpe interrupted. Why the okay, from Inyog SN, why the interruption? I think it's from your end. Maybe you try connecting to a very strong internet, because here in our studio we are also live and everything is running fine. We are from, yes, in your bong SCN. I from Uyo. How is Uyo? Mboti them. Oh, Ndoete. How is Mrs. Mboti them? How are you doing? I hope you are fine. Nice to have you here. Okay, yeah, from Uyo. How is Uyo today? Thank you. So please, if you are having any issue, please comment so that we can know. Thank you.
Let's move on to the next question on the list, which is write short note on forensic audit. Write short note on forensic audit. And the secondly is transnational audit. Secondly is what? Transnational audit. Let's look at the second one. So we're talking about forensic audit. Explain the overview. We're talking about forensic audit. We are talking about an examination of evidence regarding an assertion to determine its correspondence to established criteria carried out in a manner suitable for use in a law court. I repeat, forensic audit is an examination of evidence regarding an assertion to determine its correspondence to established criteria carried out in a manner suitable for use in a law court. Forensic audit utilization. 1. An understanding of business information and financial reporting system. I repeat, a forensic audit utilization. 1 is by understanding the business information and financial reporting system. And number 2, accounting and auditing standard and procedure, evidence gathering and investigation techniques. And the 3, litigation processes and procedure to perform their work. They are also increasingly playing more proactive risk reduction roles by 1. By designing and performing extended procedure as part of the statutory audit. Secondly, by acting as advisor to audit committee. Thirdly, by fraud deterrence engagement. And lastly, by assisting in investment analysis research. Engagement relating to criminal matters typically arise in the aftermath of fraud. Forensic auditors may be involved in recovering proceeds of crime in relation to confiscation proceedings concerning actual or assumed proceeds of crime or money laundering. While forensic accountants usually do not provide opinion, the work performed and the report issue will often provide answer to the how, where, what, why, and who. They often have to give expert advice or evidence at the eventual trial, and they do not determine fraud, but the court does. So that is forensic audit. So let's move on to the next one, which is transnational audit. Transnational audit. Transnational audit means an audit of financial statements which are or may be relied upon outside the audited entity home jurisdiction for purposes of significant lending, investment, or regulatory decision. I repeat, transnational audit means an audit of financial statements which are or may be relied upon outside the audited entity home jurisdiction for purpose of significant lending, investment, or regulatory decision. This will include 1. An audit of all financial statements of companies with listed equity or debt. Secondly, other public interest entities which attract particular public attention because of their size, product, or service provided. Transnational audit has become necessary with the need for the credibility of financial reporting on both national and international level. Transnational audit is regulated by standards issued by 1. The International Auditing and Assurance Standard Board (IASB), a special arm of the International Federation of Accountants (IFAC), and also the Nigerian Standard on Auditing (NSA), issued by the Nigerian Auditing Standard Committee (NASC) and a special committee of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria (ICAN). So that is transnational audit. So let's move to question 4. Question 4. Define environmental audit. Define environmental audit. An environmental audit has been defined as a management tool comprising a systematic, documented, periodic, and objective evaluation of how well organization, management, and equipment are performing with the aim of contributing to safeguarding the environment by facilitating management control of environmental practices and assessing compliance with entity policy, which will include meeting regulatory requirements and applicable standards. I repeat, environmental audit. So environmental audit may be defined as an audit that is regarded as a management tool comprising a systematic, documented, periodic, and objective evaluation of how well organization, management, and equipment are performing with the aim of contributing to safeguarding the environment by facilitating management control of environmental practices and assessing compliance with entity policy, which would include meeting regulatory requirements and applicable standards. In planning the audit, they should obtain sufficient knowledge of the business to understand the event, transaction, and practice that may have a significant effect on the financial statement or the audit. Potential impact on financial statement may arise from 1. The application of environmental laws and regulation. 2. The operation of processes that may cause pollution or the use of dangerous or poisonous substances. 3. The holding of an interest in land and buildings that have been contaminated by previous occupants. And lastly, dependence on a major customer segment whose business is threatened by environmental pressure. So control over environmental and social risk. Where environmental matters represent a significant risk, they may fall within the ambit of internal control system. Management may achieve control over environmental matters in the following ways. 1. Entity with low exposure to environmental risk or smaller entities will probably monitor and control environmental matters as part of their normal accounting and internal control system. 2. Some entities that operate in industry with a high exposure to environmental risk may design and operate a separate internal control subsystem known as Environmental Management System (EMS). Next one, other entities design and operate all their control within an integrated control system encompassing policies and procedures related to accounting, environmental and other matters, e.g. quality, health and safety. And lastly, some entities may have obtained registration for the environmental control at specific sites where they operate under the European Commission ECO Management and Audit Scheme (EMAS). Substantive procedure in environmental audit.
Okay. So we have some comments. We have some comments. Okay, we have okay. Jesu Tofumi Toluwani. Hi Lagos. Oh, okay, I doing Jesu Toluwani. We have in your bag. Okay, Uyo. Okay, we have Mboti them. Okay. Neoma Muni Meniru. Please, you are too fast. Okay, that's the feedback. So okay, don't worry, the lecture will be a little bit slow this time around. Let me see. Olumoroti, hi, okay, hi, hello, hi, let me see. Please, Neoma Meniru, please, if there's any aspect that you don't understand, the lecture has actually covered, please, you can ask questions, the lecture can respond to you. So, however, the lecture will try to be a little bit slow so that you can get very well. Thank you.
Usually do not provide opinion on work performed and the report issue will often provide answers. So back to question number 4, which is the environmental audit. Environmental audit is an audit of a particular environmental policy and other regulations which guide the implementation of all these audit assignments in a given society. This environmental audit gives some instance on how a management tool comprising a systematic, documented, periodic, and objective evaluation of how well organization, management, and equipment are performing with the aim of contributing to safeguarding the environment by facilitating management control of environmental practices and assessing the compliance with entity policy, which would include meeting regulatory requirements and applicable standards. So, potential impact on the financial statement. Potential impact of the environmental audit on financial statement. 1. The application of environmental laws and regulation. Application of environmental law and regulation. 2. There is operation of process that may cause pollution or use of dangerous or poisonous substances. And 3. The holding of an interest in land and building that have been contaminated by previous occupants. And the last one, dependence on a major customer segment whose business is threatened by environmental pressure. That is that for question number 4. So let's move on to question number 5. The question number 5 says that what is related parties. What is a related party? What is a related party? This is an assumption that business trade with other parties at arm's length. An assumption that business trade with other parties at arm's length. Parties are considered to be related if one party has the ability to control the other party, or both parties are subjected to common control. I repeat, parties are said to be related if one party has the ability to control the other party, or both parties are subjected to common control. According to IAS 24, material related party transactions must be disclosed in the financial statement. I repeat, according to IAS 24, material related party transactions must be disclosed in the financial statement. So, example of related party. Example of related party. 1. Organization under common control with the client company. Organization under common control with the client company. E.g., different companies having same set of directors. E.g., different companies having same set of directors. The second one, example of related party, is executive directors, top management staff, and their immediate family. Executive directors, top management staff, and their immediate family. The third example of related party, holding company and their subsidiary or associate. Holding companies and their subsidiary or associate. The fourth one is the shareholders with substantial voting rights and the company. Shareholder with substantial voting rights and the company. And the last one is in relative family and friend. Relative family and friend. Those are the examples of related party. So, example of related party transaction now. Examples of related party transaction. 1. Sales or purchase of assets at prices substantially different from current price. I repeat, sales or purchase of assets at prices substantially different from current price. 2. Borrowing or lending at rates substantially different from current market rate. I repeat, borrowing or lending at rates substantially different from current market rate. The third one, granting of loans without adequate security. Granting of loan without adequate security and or collateral and clear repayment terms, and or collateral and clear repayment terms. Number 4, exchange of assets or services in a manner which hide the value of the repayment terms. Exchange of assets or services in a manner which hide the value of the repayment terms. And lastly, engaging in transaction without insisting on proper documentation and record. I repeat, engaging in transaction without insisting on proper documentation and record. So the audit procedure to be applied to related party, which is the next one. Number 7, list the audit procedure to be applied to related party transaction. The audit procedure to be applied to related party transaction include 1. Review the system of internal control on fixed assets. I repeat, review the system of internal control on fixed assets. 2. Examine the minutes of the Board of Directors for authorization of the disposal. I repeat, examine the minutes of the Board of Directors for authorization of the disposal. 3rd one, by reviewing the accounting treatment, noting the net book value of the car at the point of sale. I repeat, by reviewing the accounting treatment, noting the net book value of the car at the point of sales. And number 4, by verifying reasonableness of the proceeds. I repeat, verifying reasonableness of the proceeds. And lastly, by verifying the accounting treatment of the sales proceeds. By verifying the accounting treatment of the sales proceeds.
We have some comments.
So,
Okay.
next one, we look at the question number 8. Define fraud and error. Define fraud and error. Fraud is intentional. Fraud is talking about an intentional. Fraud is an intentional act and comprises both the use of deception to obtain an unjust or illegal financial advantages and intentional misrepresentation affecting the financial statement by one or more individuals amongst management, employee, or third parties. I repeat, fraud is an intentional act and comprises both the use of deception to obtain an unjust or illegal financial advantages and intentional misrepresentation affecting the financial statement by one or more individual among management, employee, or third parties. So, we look at the error. Remember, I said fraud is intentional, but error means unintentional. They are opposite, unintentional. Error is an unintentional mistakes in financial statement, including the omission of an amount or disclosure. I repeat, error will be unintentional mistake in financial statement, including the omission of an amount or disclosure. It is more difficult to detect misstatement arising from fraud rather than from error. Fraud can involve sophisticated and well-organized schemes, including 1. Forgery, 2. Deliberate failure to record transactions, 3. Intentional misrepresentation, and 4. Collusion, particularly at management level. When planning the audit, auditors should assess the risk that fraud or error may cause the financial statement to contain material misstatements. Based on the risk assessment, auditors should design their procedure so that they have a reasonable expectation of detecting material misstatements arising from fraud or error. Responsibility for the prevention and detection of fraud. Responsibility for the prevention and detection of fraud rests with the management and those charged with governance. I repeat, the responsibility for the prevention and detection of fraud rests with the management and those charged with governance. They should create 1. A culture of ethics and honesty, as well as 2. Internal control within the entity. This culture should be actively reinforced by active oversight by those charged with governance by 1. By considering the potential for control to be overriding. 2. By considering other inappropriate practices, e.g. aggressive earning management. Auditor procedure when there is an indication that fraud or error may exist. 1. The auditor ability to detect fraud depends on a combination of factors. I repeat, the auditor's ability to detect and also depend on a combination of factors, which are 1. The skill of the fraudster. 2. Frequency and extent of the manipulation. Thirdly, relative size of the amount manipulated. 4. Degree of collusion. And 5. Seniority of those involved. Second one is the auditor should inquire about A. Management assessment of the risk that the financial statement may be materially misused or misstated due to fraud, including the name, the extent, and the frequency of these assessments. So, B. Management procedure for identifying and responding to risk of fraud. Management procedure for identifying and responding to risk of fraud, including 1. The specific risk identified by management. 2. Risk brought to their attention by others. And 3. Classes of transactions, account balances, or disclosure for which a risk is likely to exist. Next one, communication by management with those charged with corporate governance concerning the processes adopted for the identification and response to risk. Next one, communication by management with employees concerning their view about business practices and ethics. And the next one is discussion with the internal auditor. So those are the management procedure for identifying and responding to risk of fraud that may cause by management with employees.
Yeah, sorry, we have some little comments here. Okay, have you responded to Abaka Ismail? Okay, correction known. Okay, voice is breaking too much. Voice no show. Afolabi Olani, please, what do you mean by no show? Voice is breaking. Okay, we are actually looking at the voice from here also. Please bear with us. We are working on it already. Thank you. Please, Afolabi Olani, please, I'd like your question to be very precise and concise. Please, whatever I mean by no show, please just let us know so that we can respond to that also. Sorry, we have
explain the review of financial statement. Explain review of financial statement. The auditor should carry out a review of financial statement that is sufficient in the conjunction with the conclusion drawn from other evidence to give them a reasonable basis for their opinion. The review will determine whether 1. Acceptable accounting policy have been used. 2. Information included in the financial statement is compatible with audit finding. I repeat, information included in the financial statement is compatible with auditing finding, and also adequate disclosure has been made, and there is proper classification and presentation of information. And lastly, the financial statement comply with statutory and other regulatory requirements. Those are the methods or ways of reviewing financial statement. Procedure for reviewing of financial statement. Now, the procedure for reviewing of financial statement. 1. By obtaining and understanding the entity business and the industry in which it operates. I repeat, by obtaining and understanding an entity business and the industry in which it operates. Secondly, by inquiring concerning the entity accounting principles and practice. By inquiring concerning entity accounting principles and practice. Next one, by inquiring concerning the entity accounting system. Next one, by inquiring concerning all material assertion in the financial statement. Next one, by analytical procedure designed to identify relationship and individual items that appears unusual, and also by inquiry concerning action taken at meeting of shareholder, the board of directors, committee of the board of directors, and other meetings that may affect the financial statement, and also by inquiring of persons having responsibility for financial and accounting matters concerning, for example, whether all transactions have been recorded, to whether the financial statements have been prepared in accordance with the basis of accounting indicated. Next one, by changes in the entity business activities and accounting principle and practice. Next one, by matters which have arisen in the course of applying the foregoing procedure. Next one, by obtaining written representation from management when considering appropriate. Next one, by the auditors should inquire about events subsequent to the date of financial statement that may require adjustment of or disclosure in the financial statement. Those are the way of reviewing financial statement, as well as the procedure for the review of financial statement. So let's look at the next question. What are the procedures for reviewing of financial statement? Financial statement that may require adjustment of or disclosure in the financial statement. State the overview of letter of representation or management representation. State the overview of letter of representation or management representation. ISA states that auditors' confirmation of appropriate representation from management before their report is issued. This is sent by management to the auditor. This representation provides necessary audit evidence, but only as support for other evidence. I repeat, ISA states that auditors' confirmation of appropriate representation from management before their report is issued. This is sent by management to the auditors. This representation provides necessary audit evidence, but only as support for other evidence. The auditor requires written confirmation from management that they have 1. Fulfill their responsibility for preparing the financial statement and also provide the auditor with all relevant information and access to record and personnel as agreed in the terms of agreement. I repeat, provided the auditor with all relevant information and access to record and personnel as agreed in the terms of agreement. Next one, recorded and reflected in the financial statement all transactions. The letter of representation should be obtained on specific matters and also on matters material to the financial statement. When other appropriate audit evidence cannot reasonably be obtained, 1. The chairman of the board or other appropriate senior management should sign the letters. I repeat, the chairman of the board or other appropriate senior management should sign the letter. Secondly, it should be dated after the completion of all other audit work, but before the date of the audit report. I repeat, it should be dated after the completion of all other audit work, but before the date of the audit report. Next one is to look at the typical content of a letter of representation. Typical content of a letter of representation. 1. No material irregularities. 2. That they have disclosed all liabilities and these are reflected in the financial statement. 3. That management is not aware of any pending legal action. 4. That there have been no subsequent event for adjustment or disclosure. 5. That the directors have no plans to shut down any part of the operation of the organization. 6. That inventory is valued at the lower cost or net realizable value. 7. That the directors do not believe that there is a going concern problems. And the last one, which is number 8, that all charges and assets have been disclosed. So, question number 17. State the overview of audit report. State the overview of the audit report. 1. No material irregularities. State the overview of audit report. Audit report should be known as the end product of every audit process. I repeat, audit report is the end product of every audit
subsequent event
process.
or adjustment or disclosure.
Audit report is the end product of every audit process.
To shut down
It is the communication of auditors' independent opinion on a set of financial statements prepared for a specific period of time. I repeat, it is the communication of auditors' independent opinion on a set of financial statements prepared for a specific period of time. The auditors of a company shall make a report to its members on the accounts examined by them and on every balance sheet and profit and loss account and on all the group financial statements, copies of which are to be laid down before the company in a general meeting during the auditor's tenure of office. I repeat, the auditors of a company shall make a report to its members on the account examined by them and on every balance sheet and profit and loss account and on all group financial statements, copies of which are to be laid down before the company in a general meeting during the auditor's tenure of office. The Act requires the auditor's report to include specific statements to the effect that A. Proper books of account have been kept. Proper books of account have been kept. B. Proper returns have been received from branches not visited by the auditor. Proper returns have been received from branches not visited by the auditor. C. The financial statements are in agreement with the books and return. I repeat, the financial statements are in agreement with the books and returns. D. All information and explanation necessary for the audit have been obtained. The financial statement show a true and fair view. And lastly, the financial statement comply with the relevant statutes and other pronouncements. I repeat, the financial statement comply with the relevant statutes and other pronouncements. The auditor report shall state the matter set out in the 6th schedule to the Companies and Allied Matter Act, as follows. I repeat, the auditor report shall state the matter set out in the 6th schedule to the Companies and Allied Matter Act as follows. A. Basis of preparation of the entity financial statement. I repeat, basis of preparation of the entity financial statement. That is, the financial statements have been prepared on the basis of the entity accounting policies.
Information and
D.
explanation necessary
Respective responsibility of the directors and the auditors. Respective responsibility of the directors and the auditors.
Lastly,
C. Basis of the auditor's opinion. Basis of the auditor's opinion.
other
D.
pronouncement.
Whether proper books of account have been kept. Whether proper books of account have been kept. E.
The auditor report
By compliance with the provisions of the Companies and Allied Matter Act.
schedule
I repeat, by compliance with the provision of the Companies and Allied Matter Act, Cap C20 LFN 2004,
set out in the sixth
and
schedule
F.
to the Companies and
Compliance
Allied Matter Act
with the Statement of Accounting Standards issued by the Nigerian Accounting Standard Board. I repeat, compliance with the Statement of Accounting Standards issued by the Nigerian Accounting Standard Board.
That is, the financial statements have been prepared on the basis of the entity accounting policy.
Types of audit report.
D.
Types of audit report.
Responsibility of the directors.
Audit report can be classified
Responsibility
into two major
directors and the
requirements.
auditors. C.
One,
Basis of
according to legal requirements, and two, according to opinion express requirements. I repeat, types of audit report. Audit report can be classified into two major requirements. One, according to legal requirements, and two, according to opinion express requirements. The first one, which is according to legal requirements, can be further subdivided into two. One, by statutory auditors report, and two, non-statutory audit report.
with the statement of accounting
And the second one, which is according to opinion expressed, can also
accounting.
be subdivided into two.
I repeat,
One, qualified audit report, and two, unqualified audit report. I repeat, the types of audit report can be divided into two requirements. One, according to legal requirement,
report.
and the two is according to opinion express requirement. The first one, which is according to legal requirement, can be further subdivided into two. One is statutory audit report, and two, non-statutory audit report. The second one, which is according to opinion express requirement, one is qualified audit report, and two, unqualified audit report.
Types of audit report.
So that is audit report. So let's look at the types of audit opinion.
According to legal
Types of audit opinion.
according to
One, we have adverse opinion.
the first one
Adverse opinion. Two, we have disclaimer of opinion.
subdivided
Disclaimer of opinion. Three, we have except for opinion. Except for opinion. And lastly, we have subject to opinion. That is four types of audit opinion. One, adverse opinion. Two, disclaimer of opinion. Three, except for opinion. And four, subject to opinion. Those are the four types of audit opinion.
I repeat, the types of audit
So let's look at the element of auditor's report. Element of auditor's report.
requirement. And the 2 is according to opinion expressed required.
Element of
The first one,
auditors
according to
report.
legal requirement, can
The
be further
international
subdivided
standard
into 2.
on auditing ISA and NSA set out the requirement relating to the following elements of the auditor's report when the audit has been conducted in accordance with the standard. So the elements of auditor's report include 1. Title, that is A, title. B, addresses. 3, which is C, introductory paragraph. D, management responsibility for the financial statement. 5, auditor's responsibility. 6, auditor's opinion. 7, other reporting responsibility. 8, auditor's signature. 9, date of the auditor's report. And 10, auditor's address.
So let's look at
Those are the elements of auditor's report. I said it includes A, the title. B, addresses. C, introductory paragraph. D, management responsibility for the financial statement. E, auditor's responsibility. F, auditor's opinion. G, other reporting responsibility. H, auditor's signature. I, date of auditor's report. J, auditor's address. Those are the elements of auditor's report. So let's look at the reason for a qualification of auditor's report. Qualification in the auditor's report can arise on 2 principal grounds. I repeat, qualification of an auditor's report can arise on 2 principal grounds. These are uncertainty and disagreement. These are uncertainty and disagreement. 8. Auditor's signature. 9. So question from Yemisi Olumoroti. Type of audit opinion. The type of audit opinion include 1. Adverse opinion. 2. Disclaimer of opinion. 3. Except for opinion. 4. Subject to opinion. Those are the 4 major types of audit opinion. Let me see. I said 1. Adverse opinion. 2. Disclaimer of opinion. 3. Except for opinion. And 4. Subject to opinion. So the audit report, I said, it is the end product of every audit process. The end product of every audit process is audit report. It is the communication of auditors' independent opinion on a set of financial statements prepared for a specific period of time. I repeat, qualification of an auditor's report can arise.
Sorry, I think before we get to Yemisi, I think we have a question from Abubakar Ismail.
Disagreement.
Okay.
These are uncertainty and disagreement.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, sorry, Ramu Shondari, that's Mr. Memories.
Type of audit opinion. The
Please,
type of audit opinion.
I can see that you said no. I don't understand you by no. Please try to be more clear in asking your question.
3. Except for opinion. 4.
So let's move on to the next question on the list.
4 major types of audit opinion. Here we see
I said reason for a qualification of audit report. Qualification in the audit report can arise on two principal grounds. These are uncertainty and disagreement. I repeat, qualification in the auditor's report can arise on two principal grounds. These are uncertainty, which is number one, and number two is disagreement. So uncertainty now. In uncertainty, we have inherent uncertainty. Example include 1. Major litigation involving the company. Major litigation involving the company, that is under uncertainty. The second one is final outcome of major contract. Final outcome of major contract. 3. The recoverable of debt. 4. The continued existence of the company as a going concern. Continued existence of the company as a going concern. And a V, which is last one, the recoverable value of damage or obsolete stock. Recoverable value of damage or obsolete stock. That is under uncertainty. Under uncertainty, which can be classified into two, which is inherent uncertainty, we also have limited in scope. Limited in scope means that an audit can be limited in scope in terms of A. By circumstances beyond the client's control that preclude the auditor from employing the auditing procedure that will otherwise be considered necessary. I repeat, under limitation of scope, A. By circumstances beyond the client's control that preclude the auditor from employing the auditing procedure that would otherwise be considered necessary. And the second one is by client imposed restriction. Client imposed restriction. Those are the two things under uncertainty, which are inherent uncertainty and limited in scope. So let's move on to the next one, which is the disagreement. Under disagreement, this arises in a situation where the auditor has been able to form an opinion, but this is in conflict with the opinion of the director. I repeat, disagreement said to occur where the auditor has been able to form an opinion, but this is conflict with the opinion of the director. Examples of these are A. Departure from generally accepted accounting principles, gaps. Departure from generally accepted accounting principles. B. Incomplete disclosure of matters in the financial statement. Incomplete disclosure of matters in the financial statement. C. Disagreement of amount in the financial statement. Disagreement of amount in the financial statement. And D. Inappropriate classification and presentation of items in the financial statement and non-compliance with statutory requirements. Those are the indications of disagreement between the auditors as well as the director of a given company. So question 18. Question 18. Define subsequent event and list its type. Define subsequent event and list its type. What do I mean by subsequent event? These are events that occur after the end of reporting period.
This is conflict with the opinion of the directors. Examples of these are A.
I repeat, subsequent events. These are events that occur after the end of reporting period, but before the audit report has been signed. These are events that occur after the end of the reporting period, but before the audit report has been signed. And the type of subsequent events are: one,
Amount is the financial
we have adjusting
and D.
events, and number two is non-adjusting
Statement and
non-adjusting
with statutory
events.
requirement.
Those are the two types of subsequent events. Subsequent events, these are events that occur after the end of reporting period, but before the audit report has been signed. It is the auditor's responsibility to obtain knowledge about subsequent events up to the effective date of signing the auditor's report on the financial statement. In those circumstances, the auditors are obliged to pursue the matter further. They may issue a disclaimer in the circumstances if the directors do not agree to the update of the auditor's report.
I repeat,
So
subsequent
question 19, explain your understanding on Auditor General.
after the end of reporting
Explain your understanding on Auditors General.
report has been signed. These are events that occur after the end of the reporting period, but before the audit report has been signed. And the type of subsequent events are: one, we have adjusting events, and number two is non-adjusting events.
Question 19, explain your understanding on Auditors General.
Event. Subsequent events, these are events that occur after the end of reporting period, but before the audit report has been signed. It is the auditor's responsibility to obtain knowledge about subsequent events up to the effective date of signing the auditor's report on the financial statement. In those circumstances, the auditors are obliged to pursue the matter further.
State your overview on Auditors General.
Circumstances, if the directors do not
Okay,
agree
sorry,
with the
we have
update of the auditor's
we have some comments here. There are two different voices here.
So question
Okay,
19,
that's from
explain your
Nyoma
understanding on
Menizu.
Auditors
We
General.
have from Gamshundari. Okay, you are right.
Explain your understanding on
Class is
Auditors
going on, like
General.
automatic transmission. Okay, sorry, automatic reply machine. Okay, we are listening very well. Please post the answer to members here so that we can download from StarGood site. Thanks. Okay, yeah, we are okay. We are very sorry for that. Please bear with us. We are actually looking at the issue. We'll get back to you shortly. Thank you.
State the overview of Auditor General.
Question 19,
The Auditor General for the Federation is appointed by the President on the recommendation of the Federal Civil Service Commission, subjected to confirmation by the Senate. Question 19. Explain your understanding on Auditor General. The Auditor General for the Federation is appointed by the President on the recommendation of the Federal Civil Service Commission, subjected to confirmation by the Senate. Also note that no person acts in the office of Auditor General for a period exceeding 6 months, except with the sanction of a resolution day or duly passed by the Senate. So that is the appointment of Auditor General. Auditor General is appointed by the President on the recommendation of the Federal Civil Service Commission, subjected to confirmation by the Senate. Second one is the removal of Auditor General. The Auditor General for the Federation can be removed from office by the President acting on an advice supported by 2/3 majority of the Senate, praying that he be so removed for inability to discharge the function of his office. I repeat, the Auditor General for the Federation can be removed from office by the President acting on an advice supported by 2/3 majority of the Senate, provided that it can be proved beyond reasonable doubt that the Auditor General have the inability to discharge the function of his office. Auditor General shall be so removed only on account of 1. Infirmity of mind, body, or any other cause. 2. By misconduct. I repeat, Auditor General shall be so removed only on account of A. Infirmity of mind, body, or any other cause. B. By misconduct. Powers and function of Auditor General. Powers and function of Auditor General. 1. To examine and ascertain in such manner as he may think fit the accounts relating to public funds and property, and shall ascertain whether in his opinion A. the accounts have been properly kept, B. all public money have been fully accounted for, and the rules and procedure applied are sufficiently to secure effective checks on the assessment, collection, and proper allocation of revenue. C. Monies have been expended for the purposes for which they were appropriated, and the expenditure have been made as authorized, and also essential records are maintained, and the rules and procedure applied are sufficient to safeguard and control public property and funds. The second power is free access to books and accounts, and to require and receive from members of the public services. 3. To conduct periodical checks of all government statutory corporations, commission, authorities, agencies, including all persons and bodies established by an act of the National Assembly. So we move on to reporting and restriction of Auditor General. Reporting and restriction of Auditor General. The Auditor General shall, within 90 days of receipt of the Accountant General financial statement, submit his report to each house of the National Assembly, and each house shall cause the report to be considered by a committee of the House of the National assembly
rules and procedures
responsible
applied
for public
sufficient
account
to safeguard
in the exercise
control
of his
public
function
property
under the Constitution. The Auditor General is not subjected to the direction or control of any other authority or
from
person.
members of the public services. 3. To conduct periodical check of all government statutory corporations, commission, authorities.
So the next one is to look at the what is value for money audit and state its phases.
By an act
Value for money audit and state its phases. Money for value audit, this is variously called performance audit and efficiency audit or economic audit. The value for money audit aims to identify ineffectiveness in the system and underutilization of resources. I repeat, the value for money audit aims to identify ineffectiveness in the system and underutilization of resources. So the phases of value for money audit are: 1. The initial study, which is the phase. 2. The scoping phase, which is called information gathering. C. Planning phase, which is called analysis. D. Implementation phase, which is called reporting. And E. Evaluation phase, which is called assessment of efficiency and effectiveness review. I repeat, phases of value for money audit are: 1. Initial study, which is called proposal phase. Initial study, which is called proposal phase. B. The scoping phase, which is called information gathering. Scoping phase, which is called information gathering. C. Planning phase, which is called analysis stage. We have D. Implementation phase, which is called reporting stage. And E. Evaluation phase, which is called assessment of efficiency and effectiveness review. Those are the phases of value for money audit. Next question is to define the audit queries and alarms. Audit queries and alarms. Audit queries are observations or points raised by the audit in a particular transaction. I repeat, audit queries are observations or points raised by the audit in a particular transaction, seeking further clarification. They serve as a control mechanism to detect and prevent fraud. I repeat, they serve as a control mechanism to detect and prevent fraud. Such queries raised by internal auditors. Such queries raised by internal auditors are pre-audit queries, while those raised by the Auditor General are termed post-audit queries. I repeat, such queries raised by internal auditors are called pre-audit queries, while those raised by the Auditor General are called post-audit queries. Matters on which queries may be raised can be classified as A. Irregularity resulting in losses to the government due to either fraudulent activities of the functionary or their negligence, or incompetence. I repeat, matters on which query may be raised can be classified as
points raised by the
A.
audit in a particular
Irregularities resulting in losses to the government due to either fraudulent activities of the functionaries or their negligence or incompetence. 2. Irregularities not directly or immediately resulting in losses to government, but which infringe upon budgetary and proper financial statement. And C. Irregularity arising through poor or inefficient management and accounting, which may lead to losses to the government. So that is audit queries and alarm. So next question is itemize internal audit in the public sector and list its types. Itemize internal audit in the public sector and list its types.
To the government due to either fraudulent activities of the functionaries
house
or their negligence.
Each house of internal auditing is a managerial control in itself and a duty performed by personnel employed for such specific purposes. I repeat, the internal audit in the public sector is a managerial control in itself and a duty performed by personnel employed for such specific purposes. So that is that for internal audit in the public sector. So I will urge you to look at some certain area in advanced audit and assurance. So area like the corporate governance, try to look at it, the meaning as well as some certain terminology under corporate governance, as well as those three tripartite under corporate governance. I'm talking about the board of directors, the shareholder, and the management. So look at the corporate governance, look at the professional ethical code of conduct for the members of the institute, look at the threat to the compliance with the fundamental principle. Also look at some safeguard to the threat to fundamental principle. Look at the ethical conflict resolution and look at the audit strategy on how it can be carried out. Look at the professional liabilities, circularization and related parties. Or look at the joint audit. So those are the areas I will urge you to look and make it to be your priority when you are reading your material. Firstly, look at the audit strategy, very vital. Audit strategy. Look at the joint audit and the reason for joint audit, the forensic and the transnational audit. Also look at the related party. Related party. Look at some example based on the related party and related party transaction. Also look at the circularization as well as the word of expert and the verification of these assets, liability and the estimate. Also look at the professional liabilities, very vital. And also look at the ethics, audit report, the subsequent event, the function